I'm Stuff reporter Philip Matthews, and Munted is my perspective on the Christchurch earthquakes. Over 7 episodes, we'll show how and why a New Zealand city was munted, first by Mother Nature and then by politics. This time on Munted, the Christchurch earthquakes had political winners, political losers, and a massive protest.
There's something wrong with the democracy in our city.
In this episode, we find out what happened when Christchurch's mayor got in a fight with the government.
Extraordinary circumstances require extraordinary measures.
So if the rebuild was taken away from Christchurch and run from Wellington, how and why did this happen? First, there was a new political structure in the city. The government drafted laws to create CERA just after the February earthquake. CERA reported to the minister in charge of everything in Christchurch, Jerry Brownlee. But there was something else at work, a phenomenon that has often been observed after natural disasters. Voters tend to stick with the incumbent at times like these, and that's not surprising. They want stability, not change, especially if they felt the emergency was handled well and political leaders appeared on the scene looking empathetic, with sleeves rolled up and serious expressions on their faces. That meant that Christchurch went from being a Labour town to a national town.
He's concerned, are you being supported or punished for what you've done in Christchurch over the last 3 years?
Oh, it looks to be largely supported. I think great results in Christchurch Central, Waimakariri, and a very strong party vote.
And that's because there was one more thing, a not-so-secret weapon. The government's rebuild narrative was held in place by the strength of one personality, one political natural. Obviously it wasn't Mayor Bob Parker, nor was it Jerry Brownlee. It wasn't even long-haired power company maverick Roger Sutton, who the media depicted as a crusading saviour when he was picked to lead CERA. Despite the hype, he was never the rebuild messiah. No, the politician was Prime Minister John Key. Remember when people called him the smiling assassin? In Christchurch, we saw the amiable goofball. There was a lot of smiling and not that much assassination.
What a fantastic day to be in Christchurch and to be a Cantabrian. Great to sort of see Canterbury from the skies, and it's doing pretty well.
He was New Zealand's dad in charge, hard at work in the job of cheering people up. He would helicopter in like the dad you only see on weekends, hand out the goodies and then fly away again. Jerry Brownlee was Key's right-hand man in Christchurch. As the Prime Minister's sidekick, Brownlee developed a rare ability to position himself in just the right place for interviews, standing behind his leader. He was always ready to deliver the bad news once Key had left.
Is there anyone here from the press? We just make sure that you can hear what I'm saying.
Yes.
I realise that it's frustrating and it's difficult for residents, but I know very personally in the sort of turmoil that the front page of this week's paper can create for people.
Key's smooth personal style was an obvious contrast to Brownlee's. But together they worked as a team. Good cop, bad cop. And while the public started to mock and even detest Brownlee and Education Minister Hekia Parata, none of that rubbed off on Key, who even managed to be that rare thing in New Zealand politics, a leader who left office on his own terms. But what did this power shift do to Mayor Bob Parker? It left him looking weak and sidelined. As the rebuild got underway, Parker was undermined and publicly humiliated by the powerful in Wellington and their local representatives. Brownlee called him a clown, and Parker threatened to quit unless the minister apologised. But asking for an apology made Parker look self-absorbed and petty. He was further humiliated by local government minister Nick Smith and was forced to praise a government intervention into council operations and compared his own organisation to someone with a terminal illness. it was like watching a hostage video.
Some issues grow like a cancer, and they get to the point where they begin to take over the entire beast. And that's what's happened to us.
Extraordinary circumstances require extraordinary measures.
When Brownlee launched the unit that would create the government's blueprint and put the undistinguished Warwick Isaacs in charge, Parker was turned into a salesman, useful but powerless.
Bob is a great communicator, as you know. We would be calling on the talents and capabilities of Bob to ensure that we have a program that does encourage the investment.
In June 2013, he got into another public spat with a government minister, Maurice Williamson this time, and revealed again that he had been marginalised by those with real power.
There's no need for the government to push either me or this council into a corner. Just back off and let us get on with the job that we're supposed to be doing, and let's not play these games.
Parker had gambled on the public backing him during his clashes with Wellington, but instead the public abandoned him. He made tactical mistakes and seemed out of his depth. He stayed close to Council Chief Executive Tony Marriott, even after a crowd of 4,000 people protested against Marriott's controversial pay rise.
There's something wrong with the democracy in our city. Bob is laughing in your face.
In hindsight, this was the turning point for Parker and the mood of the city. Knowing he couldn't win, Parker pulled out of the election race in 2013 and gave a heartfelt exit interview to John Campbell.
I really don't feel I've got it in me to sustain, another 3 years of the kind of stuff that we've had to work our way through this 3 years.
That period when you lived in that orange jacket.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever saw you without that orange jacket on, and kept the morale of the city high in the period after the February 22nd earthquake.
Well, look, I'm really proud that people have attributed that to me. It's been one heck of a 3 years, John. I guess I'm pretty wrung out by it all. Like a lot of people in my city, my emotions are on my sleeve now. And I'm glad about that, I'm glad about that, and yeah.
When you stop being useful in politics, you are dispensed with, and then you are honoured. After everything that happened, the key government rewarded Parker with a knighthood.
Will it take a bit of getting used to being referred to as Sir, Bob, do you think?
Yeah, but given the number of things I have been referred to over recent years, it's got to be better than some of those terms.
But how did all this squabbling and name-calling between well-paid politicians look to those stuck in tough conditions after the earthquake? The last word should go not to a Prime Minister, nor a Mayor, but to a local woman interviewed about her earthquake-damaged home at the height of the Parker, Brownlee, Marriott and Williamson spats.
The ceiling's collapsed in, that's why it's like that. How is it? Insurance, EQC, CERA, Jerry Brownlee, all need to stop their arguing and their bickering, get on the same page and actually start doing something.
Next time on Munted, what would you do if the government came for your home?